Sally Field was Hollywood's forgotten girl, the flying nun nobody took seriously. The sitcom actress casting directors laughed off. Then, in 1976, one raw and fearless performance changed everything. But what followed wasn't just a comeback story. It was something far more complicated, far more painful, and for decades, almost entirely hidden. Before Burt Reynolds ever entered the picture, Sally Field had already fought one of the hardest battles in Hollywood. She'd been famous since her teens, but famous in the wrong way. The flying nun, the silly sitcom girl. By her mid-20s, the industry had quietly moved on without her. Then came Sybil, and everything shifted. She played a woman living with 16 separate personalities. A performance so powerful, it won her an Emmy, and opened doors that had been sealed shut for years. One of the people who suddenly came calling was Burt Reynolds, the biggest movie star alive. When they met on the set of Smokey and the Bandit in 1977, the chemistry was immediate and intense. Field later described feeling as though they'd known each other for years, within just a few days. The film became a phenomenon, second only to Star Wars at the box office that year, and audiences fell in love with them as a couple. What they couldn't see was the dynamic already forming beneath the surface. In her 2018 memoir, In Pieces, Field wrote candidly about what the relationship actually felt like from the inside. According to her account, Reynolds used his enormous fame as a form of control. She described him growing distracted whenever she tried to talk about her own life or her children, as though her inner world simply didn't register. She also wrote about his jealousy, which she said left her afraid to even greet acquaintances in public. Some accounts also point to his use of prescription drugs during this period as a contributing factor to his volatile moods. But Field has also been clear that what made the relationship so difficult to leave wasn't just Reynolds himself. In Pieces, she revealed something she had never shared publicly before, that she had been sexually abused as a child by her stepfather. She wrote that this experience had shaped her in ways she didn't fully understand until much later, teaching her to seek approval from people whose affection felt uncertain and conditional. By her own account, she had been, in her words, carefully trained to fall into exactly this kind of relationship. The turning point came over a film role. When Field was offered the lead in Norma Ray, a story about a factory worker who finds the courage to stand up, Reynolds reportedly didn't want her to take it. Field has described him throwing the script at her and objecting to the character's past. She made the film anyway. And something shifted. Playing a woman who refused to be silenced helped her find her own voice. By the time Norma Ray premiered at Cannes, where Field won Best Actress, she was already walking away from the relationship. When the Academy Award nominations came around, Reynolds reportedly told her not to expect anything, and then declined to take her to the ceremony. She went with friends, and she won. She never really spoke to him again. For 30 years, while Reynolds told interviewers she was the love of his life, Field stayed quiet and kept her distance. Her memoir appeared just 12 days after he died in 2018, and she admitted she felt relief that he would never read it. Not out of cruelty, but because she believed it would have hurt him. That's the detail that lingers. After everything, her first feeling wasn't triumph, it was compassion. If this story moved you, hit like and subscribe. There's plenty more where that came from.